But what I'm saying is that in all the years of playing live poker, another sort of exploitable pattern that you can pick up is that people do not.
The cutoff. He's a looser recreational player, but he's been sun running for a few hours. Chipped up from like 500 or 3,000 about,
Okay.
and he's been winning a lot. So yeah, there's that. Okay, he's in the cutoff. He opens to 15.
So
Button
this
fold.
so
Yeah,
this guy opens to 15 in the cutoff.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Button folds. I'm in the small blind with Ace Queen of Hearts, and I raise it to 65.
Okay, sounds good. So you make it 65 out of the small blind against cutoff, so
Right.
just over 4x, which is fine from out of position. You guys are fairly deep. Kind of a small open
Yep.
size. Is that normal, 15? Again, I go back to that.
It's usually about 20 at Parks.
Yeah.
15's a little smaller, but he's been opening 15.
Okay.
So yeah. Big blind folds and he calls.
All right, so cutoff calls. Heads up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pot's like 137
Yep.
for yeah. Board comes deuce four of hearts and deuce of diamonds. So paired board, I have a flush draw.
Deuce of hearts, four of
A nice
hearts,
one.
deuce of diamonds, and you have ace, queen of
Mm-hmm.
hearts. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So I see bet 55, about like 40%.
Okay.
Yeah, he thinks for probably like 30 seconds, a minute, and decides on a call.
So cutoff calls after thinking. Okay.
Right.
By the way, here
At this,
too, I mean, this is interesting. Again, one of the whole things where, like I said, sometimes people misuse a lot of the new tools that we have in computers. This is one where I like to go. Like I try to use the tools, to become a better player, even myself, because just thinking out
mhm,
loud as an experienced player, when I look at this board texture, I look at the configuration and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. If this was a tighter configuration, meaning that say you were like under the gun one and
right.
you three bet under the gun, you'd be c betting probably close to 100, I would think, in a very, very tight configuration because you would
Yeah.
have such a range advantage. And with overpair, same thing, another
Mhm,
tight configuration would be like under the gun versus small blind if you were the small blind. What's interesting here is that it's not quite as tight. Obviously, you still
right.
favor like betting your front door draws and even good ace
Mhm.
highs with the backdoor draw. So I just think that that's interesting, and I wonder what hands are checked just off the top of my head from your perspective here in the small
Uh,
blind. Probably not that much. You're probably still doing a lot
no,
of
I'm
betting.
mostly C betting like one third pot,
Yeah,
probably like 80, 90% of the time,
yeah,
I'd
that's what
say.
I would think too. That's what I would think too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So looks like the pot's 230, right? Right, 230.
yeah, about that.
Okay.
The turn comes the eight of clubs,
Okay.
so nothing really improves there, just a blank.
Yep.
I decide on a bet of 180.
So you're gonna bet about three quarters the size, 2/3 to three quarters the size of the pot
Yeah,
here. Is that right?
right. Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah. Just try
interesting.
to. I mean, it's. I have two overs, flush draw. I put them on maybe like middle pair or like some straight draw. I'm not sure at this point.
Yeah, and I
Or
mean,
not middle pair, just like sevens, nines, or
mhm,
something like that.
right, and I think that all those hands though would continue. The other thing though too is that it usually sets up like as a bet check here, a bet check on a brick, especially with you having the
Right.
front
Yeah. Yeah.
front
Yeah.
door hearts. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So you bet 180, okay?
Yeah. Bet 180.
Uh,
He thinks again for probably the same amount. Again, decides on a call.
cutoff calls.
Yeah.
So 360 plus 230. Now we're looking at 590, right?
Yeah. About 590,
Five
590, 600. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out.
590, and you've got
Uh,
about 1,000 left.
right.
Okay.
And so the river comes the eight of hearts. So I make my flush, but there's two, eight, eight, so full house possibilities.
So eight of hearts at the end.
Eight of hearts, yeah, action river.
So again, for the podcast viewers or listeners, if you don't again, if you're a Crush Life Poker subscriber, you will get this. I put this up live stream and you get access to it, but we also record this as a podcast. So deuce four deuce with two hearts, turns the eight of clubs, rivers the eight of hearts. Hero, who three bet out of the small blind, right, has made the nut flush with ace queen of hearts, but of course the board is double paired, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I mean, this wouldn't be too concerning to me, though, to be perfectly honest
no,
with
it's
you
not
with a bet.
concerning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I go for value, so I mean, I bet 295.
Now, this is
So,
another situation where it's
yeah.
very interesting to me in terms of what like a solver might say for
Hmm.
sizing here. In terms of
Right.
sizing, like, do you, if he doesn't have a deuce all that much, let's just say that he doesn't really have many deuces at all here. I mean, there's two combos of like ace deuce suited, if that's even defended, right?
Ace, deuce, deuces, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's about it.
and there really shouldn't be a whole lot of eights. I mean, if he's playing properly, there really aren't any eights here either because the eight of hearts comes
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So like 7, 8, it's not there of hearts.
yeah, I mean, he could have force full, right?
Right. I mean, he could, but yeah.
And this is an interesting spot because you wondered, do you almost like go a little bit on the larger side and polarize and try to get called by like a pair that plays now. Any pair is going to play here because it's 8-8 deuce deuce.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So you bet 295, okay?
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to target his like middling, like sevens or nines or tens or something like that. Try to get like a call down from like a bluff catch. I mean, a bluff catcher at this point.
Yeah.
So he thinks for a little bit longer, probably like 1 to 2 minutes, and he all ins. So he jams it all. So for like 770, 800 about.
770 total, right?
No, on top, yeah.
Oh, because you guys started with, so like for 1,000 total, right?
Yeah.
Hijack jams for 1,000. I mean, I just snap call.
Yeah, no,
I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was thinking for a little while because it just made no sense. I mean, he could have like he's just repping quads at this point, or yeah, no, I decided on a call.
I mean, here's the thing. Before you
And,
do a reveal, and I don't
yeah.
know the reveal. I mean, it is. I just, sometimes you wonder too that one of these young whippersnappers thinks that they know more than they actually do, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, this board is, this board's scary, so I'm just gonna, jam here." But I mean, the way that this hand went down, though, I can't really see not bet calling. However,
Yeah, no,
whatever it is,
hmm It's
You
just,
know.
I mean, at 1-3-2-5, you don't really see this that often. Like it's usually never a bluff. I mean, against the older, looser recreational player, I mean, it was kind of a tougher decision for me. But I mean, I decided on a call, and yeah,
And
and he flipped over his cards. He looked at them. I flipped over mine. I mean, he didn't table them. He just looked at them. I flipped over mine. And he mucks. He's like, yeah, I was just trying to get you off of a flush.
try to get you off of a flush.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I didn't know the results of that. I mean, that was one of the things that had gone through my head.
He said he had jacks without a heart. So
I mean, what's weird about this is that a lot of people, I mean, this is another thing too. I would actually like when I get over to Squishy here in a second, we'll talk about this too. Because Squishy and I think about poker on the same level, but people lie very, very poorly in these spots. What's interesting here is I'm trying to figure out kind of what he could just be sort of like floating you with there. I do not believe that he turned jacks with the jack of hearts into a bluff here. Any hand that's like way up in value there, I just don't buy. I think it's full of shit.
I didn't see his cards, so yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just mocked.
But it's just like, well, what does he have? It's like what bluff does he have? I mean, that's kind of the thing, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it's
I'm not
well
sure.
played.
I mean, it's just a spot where you're probably good most of the time, but sometimes you run into it and you just call it off. And
Now, I'm not saying for some people in the chat that there aren't certain situations where a play wouldn't be that bad. I'm not even saying that Jack here with a heart is that bad of a play. I haven't even necessarily think about it. On the surface, it doesn't look great, But what I'm saying is that in all the years of playing live poker, another sort of exploitable pattern that you can pick up is that people do not turn hands with a whole lot of showdown value into bluffs unless they're capable.